You know what? It turned out yesterday I was in for a very pleasant surprise for several things. But before I begin, let's get to my low, my high, my active kindness. Actually, come to think of it, they all do have to reflect on some of the things that happened yesterday. So, yesterday it was just really my dad and I, because whenever my mom watches my nephews, this is my low, by the way. When my mom watches my nephew, she gets so busy that, she gets home later and later because she can't really say no to being a grandma. I get it. But there's something that my dad and I actually wound up doing last night. It would have been nice if she was with us. That's all it was. Although, speaking of the thing that was really nice, outside of the fact that yesterday's episode of Hot Ones was great, I'll talk about that in a second. But my father and I actually, because my father does something called a BNI. I forget what the acronym is. I think B stands for business. But basically, there was like a get together at the Illegal Tap House, and he offered me to go with him. I'm like, sure, I'll go. It was a very wonderful time. I mean, I've talked about the Illegal Tap House several times in the past. And last time I was there was when they had Oktoberfest back in 2021. So, it's definitely been over a year since I went, and we got dinner there, and it was great. I actually had their wings. Tell you what though, illegal. They got good wings. I mean, they're not elevated, but they're pretty good wings. I approve. Let's see. And my act of kindness was I actually did another part of my low is yesterday I had to do something that I really didn't want to do. But my act of kindness, that was my act of kindness. So I'd rather not get into what specifically it is. It just involved going somewhere that I really didn't want to go to. But, my grandma asked me to do it. So I did it. That was my act of kindness. So, with that out of the way, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. So, James Corden. Whenever Instagram, First Week Feast Instagram does the, sort of the hint of who the next guest is going to be, and the hint was, I'm probably the least prepared guest in Hot Ones history, and it turned out to be James Corden. I'm like, oh no. Because I like James Corden. He's a very warm, kind personality. I like him. I never really watched late night TV, but anything he's on, I like him when he's on TV. I do. Sweet guy. So I'm like, how is he going to handle this? And I gotta say, he handled himself like a straight pro. I credit a lot of how well he did yesterday due to all of his experience being a talk show host. And he actually talked about this in the episode as well, because whether it's being on a talk show or doing carpool karaoke, it's not just the person who's in it, it's the host and the person. So that's two people. That's camaraderie. That's being together. And seriously, here's an example. What would be a good example of this? It's like going into a new school. You go into a new school or new classroom, and you're nervous, and it's different. It can be scary, but then you see someone that you've known for a long time, possibly one of your friends, and they're like, you two are in that together. Have friends close by. That's cool. That's a really great metaphor. That's a really great lesson. It teaches adaptability in a way. It teaches, to look out for others. Honestly, as ill-prepared as James Corden claimed he was, he actually did very well for, at least I think, for what he did. Although, speaking of being a talk show host, that was actually one of the questions that really spoke to me. Actually, I'll get to that in a second. Let's get to a few other things that definitely stick out to me. James Corden was on there promoting Mammals, which is a new series on, I believe, Amazon Prime it's going to be. And he talked about how he's getting to work with this one writer who he feels is like, one of the greatest of all time. Like, getting to work with someone who's essentially like your idol, that's really cool. Like, that'd be the equivalent of, okay, well, you guys know me. My dream job has always been to be a voiceover actor. That would be like me being voice directed by Andrea Romano. And if you don't know who Andrea Romano is, look her up. Trust me, what I said holds merit. I'll put it to you that way. Actually, I can explain Andrea. I don't want to be rude. I'll explain. See, Andrea Romano was a prolific voiceover director. Just like, live acting needs a director, voiceover acting also needs a director. Teach you how to speak, how to say a line, and stuff like that. And Andrea Romano was the absolute master at that. Like, she probably has, I couldn't tell you how many Emmys she's gotten over the years. I should probably tell you, me being able to work with Andrea Romano is kind of a lost cause because she's retired. So, to be honest, she's earned that retirement. So it's cool. Anyway, back to Hot Ones and James Corden. So being able to work with your idol, that's huge. That's like if people have bucket list moments, those are usually the sort of moments that are on said bucket list. So that's really cool. Speaking of working with your idols or being with anyone, he talked about how Tom Cruise flew him in a fighter jet, and how you go the jet's going down, and he's like, who wouldn't react that way? That's the real question. You could tell me you're the most prolific pilot in the Air Force, and you tell me, listen, I'm going to fly you in my jet, we're going to do tricks, but it's going to be okay, I know what I'm doing. You can tell me that all you want. I'm still going to be freaking out like crazy. But that's just me. So that was really cool. Of everything he talked about yesterday, though, and this is actually something I never thought of, but he was right. See, well, for one thing, it really was about, in the beginning of the episode, where he went over late night, being a late night talk show host, and they also talked about other stuff too, being a football fan, soccer, not American football like we have, and how he led the whole bunch of people in a chant. That was really cool. He even talked about how seriously, actually, before I get into the main thing, when he probably had the most I know he was pretty much doing this when he had the bomb, but I dare say that's probably the most composed I've seen anyone handle the bomb in a long time. I thought that was really composed compared to most people. I'm sure some people would. I'm sure other fans of Hot Ones would disagree with that, but I think so. Plus, it's my video. I can say whatever I want. Well, within reason, of course. So some things you should never say on camera. That's okay though, because I know better than to do that. Okay. As he's doing this, I'm he's actually handling himself quite well. Golf clap. Okay, so now the main thing that really interested me. It was when he was discussing, late night, being a late night talk show host. And no, it has nothing to do with the David Blaine part of that episode. Although that part was really good too. How David Blaine performed the trick where he burned $100 bill, had it fall in water. James Corden drank it, and a dove flies in with, the $100 bill. And he's like, "You didn't really just drink that water, did you?" He's like, "Yeah." Oh. And it was really funny how David Blaine's like, "Listen, what you just did was no different than putting a cigarette butt in your mouth." Yeah, because lots of people know what that experience is. Okay, the main thing, straight up. When it comes to late night talk show, for many years I actually always wondered, okay, it's late night. Who's really going to be up? Now, when I was a little kid, I was a little kid around the time where Johnny Carson had just finished his reign of late night television, and he was on super duper duper 11:30 at night or something like that, too late for anyone to be up. So it got me wondering who would actually be up at that hour? And I'm sort of embarrassed but kind of fascinated to say that this episode of Hot Ones answered that question for me. Because James Corden, the people who would be watching late night would be people who just got home from work via the night shift, or about to go into work via the night shift and there's a TV on, or, college students who are staying up late because, they don't got to worry about school the next day possibly, and just what their schedules might be, or occasionally stoners and druggies. So, suffice to say, late night TV definitely has an audience. But the thing that you said that fascinated me more was way back when late night television was the thing. You'd have your host, say Johnny Carson, for instance. I'm going to be using Johnny Carson, but David Letterman, Conan O'Brien, even Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, those guys. It used to be that you'd have the host, and then you'd have, the celebrity guests come on. And during those days, that was the one time you could actually see these celebrities, be themselves. Because let's face it, we pretty much have always idolized, famous people for what they do. And, rightfully so, because what they do is beyond incredible at times. But at the end of the day, they're people just like you and me. And being on late night was actually, the means for everyone to, see that. And James Corden brought this up as well, that nowadays, more and more people have access to greater access in being able to see that. Because with the advent of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, all those social media platforms, you literally could open up your computer, look up a celebrity of your choice, and chances are they're probably doing a live video inside their house. Kind of like what I'm doing, for that matter. So yes, pretty much what I'm doing. Only in this case, I'm just a regular guy. I don't have the fame or prestige of somebody like a LeBron James or something. I don't have that. But my point is, nowadays, here's the thing. Social media is always going to have that sort of divisiveness to it because, people always say horrible stuff on social media. People have conspiracy theories. People know what they're talking about, stuff like that. On the other hand, people that you would otherwise, idolize and see as enigmatic figures, they're just regular people like you and me. most likely taking photos of mundane things or making videos. Again, kind of like what I'm doing, but that's the point. At the end of the day, they are just regular people, just like you and me. Doesn't make them any less than who they are. It's just, they're still the people that you know them as. You just know them. You just know them on a more, personal level, and that's really cool. Like, for all the flack that social media gets, it really has done a lot to break down barriers, and I don't think that's something that most people really see enough of. So when James Corden is saying this, I'm like, holy cow, he's right. For years, I'd see or see or hear of like famous celebrities, and they're like in movies or playing sports, professional sports, and all that stuff. But even though that's what their profession is, what you see on TV or in the movies is not a reflection of who they are. Well, sometimes it's a reflection of who they are, but not always. There's some really good people. There's some extraordinary people in this world. I like to say that in my lifetime, I've met, a lot of extraordinary people as well. Be it horse ads or at Trinity Poly or Gettysburg College, or just life in general. And there are as many personalities as there are people in this world. And it's just so fascinating how something that seems as mundane and rather divisive as social media is able to sort of break down that barrier. And I like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even though I'm just a regular guy who, makes videos, at the end of the day, that's honest. That's sheer honesty. What you see is what you get. And I mentioned this the other day, but I've been making videos for 1,776 days. If this was a year, it'd be Happy Birthday America. The point is, I got this far by staying sharp, tough, and I made my way square. No, I'm not big and rich and famous. That doesn't mean someday I won't be doing this. And if I ever did, I don't know where I came from. And that's good enough for me. I hope y'all liked this video, and if you did, leave a... Oh, I should probably tell you the Panthers won. So, that's one thing I got wrong this week. Hopefully Sunday will be better. So I hope y'all liked this video, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on social media. Which, again, you see me be a regular person on social media, too. So it's a win-win. Also, as always, I'm very humble in this video for all of you guys watching. Enjoy for today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, you guys want to talk channel is going to be here to let me know. So you're back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.